Hey everybody, I'm Griffin here, and welcome back. I'm gonna hit this autosave. I'm gonna see what it is. We died last time in the final fight, or presumably the final fight. Okay, yeah. So here's actually something I want to know. Can we get to old saves? Now that we know that that autosave is good. Okay, no, we can't. So this autosave is it. Like, I mean, I can save here. Like, I can look up what happens based on which offer you pick. Like, I can do that. We can look it up. Alright. But let's go ahead and save. I have a feeling nothing good happens. I'm pretty sure it just kills you and it's game over. Like, I'm not too worried about that. Alright, so, we just need to make this fight go fast. I think that's going to be the key here. I don't think we want the plasma launcher. I think we just have to go for it. I think shotgun's the right way. Whoa, okay, what the fuck? I can't fire my shotgun. I can't fire my shotgun. The game is currently bugged. I can't fire anything. Yeah, so the game is bugged. I can't do anything. I cannot fire any gun. I can't fire a gun. What am I gonna do? That's dumb. Why did that happen? I don't understand. Must have been something I did. Right, we can't just open that door. Maybe... No, caps lock wouldn't fix it. I actually hit caps lock, I think. Skip. No. Skip. Okay. This is the... Okay, everything seems to be okay now. Nope, can't fire the shotgun. Oh, is it because... If you look, it's dark. Why is it dark? Is she preventing me from firing? I can't shoot again. I got one shot off with the shotgun. The shotgun is bugged, by the way. I'm really confused. This is really weird. I can't change weapons. Is this a bug? Nothing was wrong last episode. Just trying to get somewhere safe. Yeah, I literally can't... Okay. Yep, weapon bug during final boss fight. turned on VSync. What? If I get hit while trying to switch weapons? Alright, so the key is don't get hit while switching weapons, or we can go ahead and turn on VSync, which I have turned on. Okay. This is dumb. This is a dumb bug. And yeah. Switch to our shotgun. They really expect you to stay in this zoomed in mode. I don't understand why they would. See, shotgun's good. My goal here is to just run. I want to hit these first. Wow, please. Good, they're all dead. Yeah, I know I'm playing a dangerous game by letting myself get hit. Ouch. Dang, thought I almost got away with it. Problem is, every time I switch weapons, I'm risking bugging out. I don't like that. Ouch. Damn, that hit her. Gotta keep moving. But I can shotgun the other ones, so... Shit. Alright. Ouch. Just running laps. Oh, Jesus. Alright, this is gonna hurt, but I need this to work. I need to do this. I need to find the right time. No! You can't get hit while you're doing it. It takes a while to set up. It's gonna take a really long time for this to actually have an effect. Come on, Nano Casting Kit. You are ultra. Weirdly enough, the being forced to go slow would actually be a benefit here. Ow. Fuck off. So, the Wind Droid actually still benefits me. It gives me mobility plus plus, which actually could be saving my ass right now. Keep running in circles. We're almost there. I did say that if I ever got caught and lost mine and had to use a nanocasting kit, we were probably dead. So I'm impressed that this has worked thus far. Okay, I know where we need to go. Alright, one left. Alright, she is open. The hatches are open. Actually taking my hand off of the mouse so that I can press the bandage. We need to get a drink. Yes, I know we're gonna have to go to the bathroom now, but it's better than not being able to run fast, which is what happens if we get too dehydrated. I want to take care of all of these enemies. But I think she's just going to keep spawning him in. I feel like it makes sense. One boss for each of the standard types, one for melee. She's looking pretty injured, although her shield is back. Nice dodges. Ouch, fuck. Gotcha! If only you'd have joined, you could have evolved with me. Is this what you wanted? Are you satisfied? No. But that's the way things are sometimes. Goodbye, Albert. Well, that was intense. Alone, till death do us part. Hey, not too rough.
I took off my glasses, and I covered my eyes. For the first time, in a very long time, I let out a sigh. There was no relief, though. As the light left her gaze, I realized I was the last person on MPO. The only remaining shuttle had been ripped in half. Mars' orbital station would most likely contact Earth for support. What Earth's government would do after was anyone's guess. They could capture me, kill me, or worse. MPO become my prison once more. This time, in solitary confinement. I didn't have any options. I realized something though. I never did once I set foot on Mars. I wish I'd never left Earth. I wish I'd stayed by her side to the very end. I was never going to be able to save her. I put my glasses back on, and I gathered some of her ashes in my hands. She would need a proper place to rest. Anywhere but here.
And that's that. That is the end of Subterrain. So, awesome. That was... I guess this is where I get to do my final thoughts here. I want to look at the achievements that we just got. So, Alone, beat the game after refusing Jennifer's offer, kill your old boss, kill Jennifer West, the Queen of Minerva, beating the game using easy mode or higher, normal mode or higher. We played normal mode. So, we still have one hidden achievement, and, oh god, the permanent death option. It doesn't say you can't do it on easy doing that. So yeah, I basically have to replay this 2 more times to get all the achievements. One on nightmare mode, and once on easy with permadeath. And I have a feeling this has to do with accepting one of the other offers. So let's actually go ahead and do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and accept Jennifer's offer and see what happens. We would become true Martians. I miss you too. I haven't seen you in so long. All I ever wanted was to save you. I should have never come to Mars. Coming to Mars was the best thing you've ever done for us, and the best thing you could have done for the future of humanity. We can get reacquainted as we flourish. Together again.
I'm still designated as Albert West, but I've become so much more. West accepted the offer, and he was injected with the Minerva they'd been developing. Our queen had innate control over these new nanomachines. With thoughts alone, she could manipulate the Minerva to enact her will. The contaminated became her puppets, though they were not autonomous. This left her mentally taxed, and unable to reach her full potential. The old me would have improved this. He wisely allowed the Minerva to build up in his body. I became self-aware by the time we shut down all the oxygen and thermal generators. Before long, our thoughts were shared, and they were just mine. Using West's knowledge, I assisted in making the contaminated sovereign. They were now capable of reasoning on their own, despite our shared consciousness. She congratulated me, once again calling me Albert. I don't care for that name. None of us do. She founded a new society. Our ranks swelled, as did the Queen's power. Martians, she said. A fitting name for a people with the strength we possess. She was no longer alone. None of us were. We become something greater than our origins ever suggested. The Queen is leading the way.
Alright, so that's the other ending. So, we've got some time to burn. I don't know what happens if you accept, what's-his-face's offer, and I have a feeling that that's not one of the achievements. Yeah. So. It took us almost 3 months in-game to finish and win. It took a while. We did some crazy things. And the endings were both pretty interesting. I don't actually think either of them is a bad ending. I'm going to go on record and say that. I don't think either of them is actually a bad ending. I think they are just different endings. Mostly because the Minerva isn't evil. Nothing about it is inherently evil, though it appears so as the Minerva's prey, effectively, that it's evil, but we accept in the wild that lions aren't evil for killing other animals and eating them, nor are other creatures who are participating in the predator-prey paradigm, mostly because we are also in that, you know, we raise animals and slaughter them and things like that to eat, and we don't consider ourselves evil for doing so, though I'm not going to touch on vegetarianism because they think that eating meat is bad or things like that. That is, in general, the vast population doesn't think that, and from what I understand, most vegetarians have a problem with the way we do it, not that we do it. So, in general, trying to not burn too many bridges, predator-prey relations don't imply or create evil. So, the Minerva is not evil. It's just different than what we want. If we had a creature that was preying on us, I'm sure we would consider it evil, but as the perspective of the top of the food chain, we don't really care. And in fact, if you think about it, when there are creatures that become man-killers, like tigers, lions, things like that, we do consider them evil, and we focus on killing them, which is exactly the paradigm that happens here. So if we take the angle of Albert going, no, I refuse to join you and killing Jennifer, then you end up in that position of, we defeated our predator, we cleansed the world of this, Mars, of this, and now we continue. Whereas the ending to join Minerva and become one with Minerva can be looked as a forward step in human evolution, because clearly it's psionic powers, the ability to fly, things like that, we generally consider a step forward in evolution. The only reason we don't in this specific situation is because it is being done by a predator-prey relationship. We're preying on old things. But if you look at it, they then take the things that were unsentient and unknowledgeable, those creatures, and make them sentient. That is part of that ending. They are, in fact, creating a race of new people. Whether or not you consider this to be new people is kind of up to you. They are basically being created by a bunch of nanomachines going freaking haywire. And they were once humans. And I don't know what happened to the spidery things or the yellows, because we obviously don't see those. I mean, basically, Jennifer, having the power that she has the ability to shape the people to her will as she has control over the nanobots. Whether or not you actually agree with that being a story point is beyond me, but that's where it's leading in terms of the story. And I like that. I like that the two endings are not necessarily good or evil. Now, you also do have to consider the fact that they're talking about the person who is then talking at the end there isn't really Albert. He's more of a collective consciousness from the evolutionary gain of the nanobots, which isn't really evolutionary, but you know what I mean. So, I love the dichotomy of the end there. I absolutely love it. I think it is fantastic. I think it is great. So let's talk about the rest of the game. My own mistake of not catching the story early and understanding exactly, like, I don't know. I could start a new game and see, but I don't actually know how much of the story actually lends itself to what's going on. So for me, because I made that mistake of thinking it was a roguelike early and not paying as much attention to the story as I should have, because whatever in the description that made me buy it made me think it was a roguelike, and it got in my head that it was, and I didn't actually verify that before I started. I don't know if I ever actually made that clear when I first started the game, but that's how that went, to me, personally. So, not knowing some of that story right from the get-go might have made the story less impactful, or it might have made it more impactful. I think it made it more impactful because suddenly when the reveal was, hey, we made this. We were framed, we were trying to make something good, we got framed, somebody else turned it into something evil, and then the people who betrayed us realized their mistake and tried to gain recompense by creating the solution. That, as a storyline, I liked very much. I think the story was very solid, and it was really good. The only downside is that the story kind of gets lost in the middle. Like, you get the start, you get the, okay, you need to survive, and then you get the story at the end. That's the only downside to the story there, is it's really hard to weave it in the middle. There is some story that you follow by following the trail of notes, but it's not really story that is related to the start or end. It's a little bit more of the world building on the level of, this is what's been going on Mars. This is why this has been going on. These are the people that you need to know. And eventually it all kind of comes full circle when it gets wrapped together. Everybody that kind of gets talked about gets wrapped back in. Or the stories have already been concluded, like, some of the messengers who ended up getting killed and things like that, moving things around. So I think the story was good. I think the middle part did good world building. Depending on, so we also went really slow through the game. I feel like that should also be pointed out. The story could also be much more connected if you play it through faster. And a lot of the clearing that we did would not have been at all necessary. We lost like 10 episodes at least to just clearing stuff. And in stuff that we didn't necessarily need to do. Also, the fact that I didn't pay attention to one of the notes meant that I went the wrong way and my progression got slowed down significantly because I was trying to fight an uphill battle. Because the infected got strong enough that the weapons that I was using took a really long time to clear them. And on top of that, I didn't have the chip. Like, I had the engineering 4 chip, but not the engineering 3 chip. So if I had gotten those in a different order, we would have been able to clear that stuff faster. It wouldn't have built up. There is very much a snowball of time going on here. This is a game that is really a race against time, and a very quick race against time. Like, you really need to go. Because every second that you waste is, what was it, 16 other places that are gaining infection that you might have to deal with later. So it's really important to go fast, and we did not go fast. And part of that is my fault. I like being very prepared when going into those situations. I don't like to do a lot of just run and gun when I do not feel secure in that decision. And so I feel like that is part of my play style in the game. If I were to play it again, I would probably play it much different. And I think that's okay. I think that is the sign of a good game, personally. Like, if you can look at a game and read exactly how you're supposed to play it, what you need to do right from the get-go, I don't think it's all that great. Just personally. I think the learning makes it a lot more fun when you have to learn how to play the game. Doesn't mean you can have a game that doesn't require learning that isn't fun. Or you can totally have a game that doesn't require learning that's fun. I'm not saying that that's the thing, but I think it adds to the game's experience that I think there's replayability here, because I'm curious how fast I could get it done now. Because we know now that all you need to do is get the engineering chips, get off of Mars, trigger that cutscene, get crashed back into Mars. You know, you still have to have the Ava suit, and you still have to be able to make that stuff. So I don't know how far you can go where you still have the resources to make all of it. If you pick up everything and salvage everything, is that enough, or do you actually need to go and start using the mine? Because that would then require you to get those chips. Because if you can just get those chips, get off Mars, and then get to the point where you need to make the purifiers, those purifiers fix everything for you. So if you know the floor that the oxygen filter's on and the thermal regulator's on, you can just pop back in and clear one floor. Well, 3 floors, really. The main floor to get to the elevator, the floors that have them on there. That saves you, in a lot of cases, at least 50% on the 5-story ones, which are actually 6 stories because of the main floor. That saves you 50% of the time of clearing the whole thing out, because when it gets full, it just wipes everything. Even if those floors that you have to fight are really thick and tough and obnoxious, you're still good, because it will clear everything for you. And I think that's especially big on the ones that are 10. Because that's 11 floors, of which you only have to clear 3, and a lot of those the elevator's really close, so you don't necessarily need to worry about it. Which means you're clearing you only have to clear 27% of that floor, and even then, if you know where you're going, you're good. Like, if you can run through really fast and not have to worry about it, I think you're just good. Not to mention that if you actually get a pistol early, I think pistols are really good. I'm curious to see what they are early game. I don't know if I'll actually play this again and find out, but I'm definitely a little curious to know. Another point on the story, I totally love the twist. Like, that you try and escape Mars, you think you're good, and then you get shot down. I did like that. I did like that it let me satisfy that I want to purify all of Mars mentality that I had. So, that's to jump back to the story. I kind of forgot to mention that. So, that's pretty much it for the story, and for the, I think, overall style of the game, the speed, which I just said, I like that. I think it leads to some interesting replayability options, and overall, I think makes it a good game. Now, let's talk about everything else. Let's talk about the survival aspect, and let's talk about just the overall mechanics of everything else. So, when it comes to survival, I think they hit it spot on. 100% spot on. In a lot of games, so we can compare it to Subnautica a little bit. Food, water is about all you really have to worry about. Now, there is the oxygen and thermal when you're going to new areas. I also like that. So when it comes to the food, sorry, I'm sitting back in my chair because my back is starting to hurt because I'm leaning forward into the mic. So when it comes to the food and water, I think that's pretty standard, and I don't think that's really that big of a problem. You can't craft food and water explicitly. You can craft the food from the the biodome and eat that, and there are also water fountains like all over the place. So it's the cost of contamination, which then requires you to have more decontamination pills because you're taking higher risk. So there is a way to have infinite food and water, but quite honestly, just salvaging from everything gave us more food and water than we could possibly need, which partially leads me to believe that we were being a little bit excessive. I could go back and check how much extra food, how long I could arguably survive, and I don't think it would really come close. I think we could probably have lasted years on Mars with the food and water that we had, and I think that's okay. Because we were a little bit more thorough, we were rewarded with never having to worry about that. I can see playing a faster playthrough where you don't loot everything, that becomes a little bit more of an issue. The going to the bathroom part, I suppose, wasn't entirely necessary and didn't really add all that much to the game. I think it added, like, some interesting realism. Because, yeah, like, look at Subnautica. When did we go to the bathroom? I don't know. Like, sure, you can pee in your wetsuit, but you kind of need to do more than that. So I did like that it was there. We don't know what happens if you let it go too long. I might look it up and just see, but I feel it's interesting, and it adds an interesting level of realism to the game. Like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I need to take care of that. Like, in that final fight, it was kind of interesting. Like, I need to pee, but I also need to fight this giant Martian that's trying to kill me. We kind of need to solve that problem. So, you know, it's a thing. So I liked that part. When it comes to the thermal and oxygen in the new areas, I think that it fit really well thematically, especially because we know that the nanomachines function better at lower temperatures and less oxygen, that those would be off, and therefore we'd have to go in and turn them back on to reduce it. And in the meantime, we have to survive in that area. Thematically, flawless. Really good. When it comes to mechanics, I also think it was really nice. It limits the amount of time that you can spend in an area and gives you something else. Because there are other limitations that you have, including your weapon's durability and your energy, but to add something on there that's a little bit more based on survival, like, we need to go. Like, I don't have enough oxygen to last here. I think that was really, really nice. And honestly, all of this stuff was not, like, difficult mechanically to actually manage. Like, sure, you have to do some switch out of things, of power packs and of thermal packs and oxygen packs and all that when you're running low. But that's not really all that mechanically difficult. I suppose if you're trying to go super, super fast, it could be a problem. But then I think that's okay. They're trying to make it so that going fast is difficult but rewarding, and going slow is difficult but rewarding in a different way. So going fast is rewarding because you don't have to fight as much, but it's difficult because you have more things to manage and you're not as high on the power curve as you might need. Going slow is rewarding because you have all the resources you need. We were not hurting for anything. There were only a couple... that's not true. Some of the metal composite we were hurting for a little bit. But that's also because I was making a whole bunch of crap. But we had the way to get it. And overall, we never actually didn't make something because we didn't have the metal composite. We just took a little bit of extra time and made the metal composite. Not to mention that if we had gone the right way, which is my fault again, that we didn't, we probably would have been able to make some of those things on a slower curve, which would have been better for us. We would have been able to clear things in a different manner, and we would have been able to more slowly bring back all those resources. Because what happened was we suddenly jumped in weapon efficacy, and we were able to clear a lot more things a lot quicker that we couldn't do before. And so when we were clearing things out, before we were, clearing things, we were coming back, we never actually filled our bag in a bunch of different cases, unless there was a bunch of heavy stuff. We generally didn't fill our bags. And then when we came back, and we're clearing 3 or 4 floors at a time, we hit the point where we were overfilling. We couldn't fill our bag. Our XL bag we could not fill. So there's some give and take there. With going fast and going slow, with being rewarded based on the mechanics. The other survival mechanics, mostly being health and contamination and stamina, totally okay with. Clearly, I would love to always have been able to run forever. Maybe I should have invested in making more Windroid, because, oh my gosh, that was key. But I think that it played out really well in terms of the balance. sleeping, needing to sleep to reduce your fatigue so that you would have your stamina. Once again, it took the fact that things take time to process and gave you a reason to burn time. And I think part of this game's realism, or attempt at realism, is that it is a real-time thing that's passing and going on. Granted, we only had to sleep for like 3 hours, but they've done studies that you can do short naps and then exercise, short naps, exercise, as long as you hit that REM sleep, which obviously it didn't actually measure here. You feel rested. So it's not completely unrealistic in that regard. We did like completely lose track of time. Like, I honestly really didn't have any idea how much time it was because I just had goals and things to do. And that's what happens. You fall asleep for as long as you need, and you wake up, you do stuff. I think that it worked out really well. It modeled things really well, and overall it worked well because clearly you can't just plug in something, say research this please, and it'll be done in 5 minutes. I think that doing it the way that they did allowed for you to manage your time more effectively and do things in order to burn time, which you needed to do, but like they kept it in that realistic scale, and I think that gave the game a really good bonus to that feel like you were actually on Mars and trying to do stuff and survive. So survival, other mechanics. I think we've covered pretty much everything that I want to hit on. We didn't run into too many bugs. That last game-breaking bug was a little bit obnoxious. I'm probably going to post in the Steam chat about that, or in the Steam community about that. I feel like that's a good idea. There was one other thing that we found that was odd, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It might have been normal once we realized some things. I'm going to have to double check the back of my head. I think the biggest downside to the final boss fights is that Windroid was so important. So important. You could not have won without it, I don't think. I think you would have gotten the absolute shit kicked out of you if you tried. My opinion. I really think you would have just gotten absolutely murdered. Absolutely murdered if you didn't have the Windroid. And that's okay, I suppose, but it's one of those things that you kind of need to know. And in the future, like, I pretty much was set up pretty well, not knowing to destroy the towers. Like, I didn't see Jennifer pull energy from those towers until the very near the end of the fight. I just thought they were something else to shoot at me. So that was my observation skills. I was trying to stay away and use the rifle from, or not the rifle, the pistol from as far away as I could. So there's some like plus and minus to that, but overall I think the boss fight is solid, minus the fact that the Windroid is so required. And I haven't really decided if I think that's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm okay with it, but I don't know if it's bad design. I said overall this game entertained me for a very long time. The end was very rewarding, and the middle was also very satisfying. I am one of those people who goes on like cleaning binges. Like, I can let stuff get pretty messy, and then just like there's a straw that breaks the camel's back, and I go, this is way too messy. I need to clean all of this up. So this triggered that a little bit. Like, oh man, we're at 89%. I need to go clean that entire place. And I think that is one of those things, like, there's a catharsis in doing that. So I think that worked out really well for me. But I also enjoy games like the one where you just clean up after monster messes, Viscera cleanup detail. I also enjoy that game very much. So it doesn't surprise me that a game that involves purifying is something I enjoy. Not surprising at all. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the opinion I really have to give on the game itself. If you want to know something, if you want my opinion on something specific in the game, please feel free to put it in the comments. Ask me. I would love to answer. Because I can't give like a full... I am just pulling this review off the top of my head. I don't have a script here or anything like that. I didn't write anything. I'm really just doing it from the feel at the end of the game. Because that's really, to me, how you feel at the end of the game is probably more important than what you feel in the middle. Because there were points that, yes, I was a little frustrated in the middle with the cleaning part and how much time it was taking, but really that was more because I'm putting these episodes up on YouTube, I can't put a 3-hour episode of Subterrain up on YouTube because that means that I've spent too much time recording Subterrain for one episode, and I'm probably falling behind on other episodes. And B, nobody's going to sit there and watch 3 hours of me playing Subterrain in one sitting. And if you are amazing. And clearly you find me more entertaining than I find myself. So, hats off to you if you are willing to watch 3 hours of Subterrain in a row. But because I feel like that's influencing that, when it comes to the actual playing of the game and then the enjoyment of it, totally there. Was definitely enjoying it in the middle there. I'm pretty sure that I've played... I'm way in backlog right now. So I'm going to have to remember if you ever ask me to review parts of it. But yeah, it's so far in backlog because I picked it up and could not put it down for like a whole week. Luckily, I had the backlog to survive doing that in my other stuff. But yeah, it's absolutely insane how much this game sucked me in. And I think that's really what it does. The graphics are okay. They're not bad. They're not amazing. It's not like we're 3D. We're doing a top-down shooter here, but that's okay. Graphics don't turn me off or anything. And overall, the mechanics were solid. The enjoyment was good. Oh, right. And as what I was saying is, at the end of the game, that's when your feeling is the strongest. Like, if you enjoyed the game at the end, that's what counts. If you were frustrated in the middle and you put it down, like if it was too frustrating or too bad at some point and it made you put it down, then you're sure that's bad. But I never actually put Subterrain down and wish that I didn't pick it back up. I'm always glad that I picked it back up, and I always got sucked into it. I never recorded like one episode of Subterrain and put it down and left. Like, I always recorded at least 2 or 3 in a row. And the only time that I even recorded like 2 was because I had a time constraint and I just needed to get an episode out. Because I had other stuff to do, a busy weekend or vacation for a week or something like that. So, always played for at least an hour. Generally played more. And in the past 2 days, I think I've played more Subterrain than I've slept. So, as I said, I enjoyed this game. I would recommend it. I would also recommend going in that it is not a roguelike at all, but is in fact a story-based game that's pretty fun. So once again, I do not regret this. I have no idea when this is coming out, by the way. I don't even know what episode this is. I'm pretty sure we're at over 100, but I don't know for sure. I'm still processing stuff, and I think I have to scroll down to get the videos. Like, I'm going to be processing Subterrain videos for a while. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I hope you enjoyed watching me play this game. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, because honestly, we got to see 2 endings that I think are really good. I really liked both endings. In reality, like if it were actually me as Dr. West making that decision, I do not know what I would do. I can honestly say I do not know what I would do. I feel like the psychology of the game and what it drives you, pushes you to do, is take the ending where you kill her. Both mechanically, because it gives you a boss fight, and B, because the story is, in general, about you purifying. So the switch to her side is we've done this for so long, but it's my wife. Sure, it's not maybe necessarily exactly her, but it's still her. And I think that's a weird thing, and it's kind of impossible to say exactly how much is there. But remember, the one thing we had was the ring. It's the one thing we had that we started with, if I remember correctly. It's the one thing we kept. So, it's one of those things where I feel like it's a valuable story point, but I don't know if I'm remembering it exactly right because it was so long ago. Alright, I'm going to stop rambling because this episode has been hella long. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I know I already said it, but I hope you guys enjoyed all of it. Please let me know your opinions or your questions in the comments down below. I don't know what's going to be next in terms of series because, as I said, is it the new year? Is it 2019 right now? Do me a favor and look at the date. Yeah, look at the date right there. Yep, that's the date. Except it's not 2017. Wait. Oh, wow, interesting. Yeah, it's not July 14th, 2017. It's July 8th, 2018 right now. That's when I'm recording. So that's how far in backlog I am. That's how far in backlog I am. That's all I'll say. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time with a new game. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Probably. But until then, keep your gears turning.